Hi, my name is Lizzie, and I'll be presenting on William Hogarth's The Enraged Musician. The Enraged Musician is an etching and engraving in State 3 created by William Hogarth in 1741. The sheet is 19 1/8 inches by 22 2/3, while the hanging plate is 14 3/16 inches by 16 1/4 inch. The Muscarelle Museum acquired this as a gift from Donald Miles Nelson in 1991. And the piece depicts a comic scene of a violinist who is driven to distraction due to the chaos outside of his window. William Hogarth was born on November 10, 1697, as Bartholomew Close in London to a lower middle class family. His father was a Latin school teacher and textbook writer who in his childhood was imprisoned for debt in the Fleet prison for 5 years. When he was young, he apprenticed to engraver Ellis Gamble, however, he never finished this apprenticeship. By 1720, Hogarth was a well-known English painter, printmaker, pictorial satirist, social critic, and editorial cartoonist. He is best known for his series Marriage à la Mode and The 4 Stages of Cruelty. Like many other prominent artists and connoisseurs, he was a member of the Rose and Crown Club. He died at 66 years old in London. In November 1740, Hogarth advertised his work in progress of a 3-image set, The Provoked Musician, The Distressed Poet, and a 3rd image with painting as the subject, but it was never completed. The other 2 prints were issued together in November of 1741, and this is one of those 2 pieces. And it's believed that, with some differences, this engraving is based off the oil sketch that's in the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford. On the left of the image is a parrot on the shoulder of a pregnant mother who, while holding her screaming baby, is singing the ballad, The Lady's Fall, which you can see with the sheet music. A young boy with a rattle looks on as a boy pees on the musician's window, which is a theme that is often repeated in Hogarth's comical works like in the March to Finchley and Hudibras, and is believed to reference John Gay's poem Trivia. The urinating boy has a cord that's tied around his waist that is attached to a trailing slate which clatters on the ground as he moves, so that would be very noisy, so that's part of the distraction. In the center, there's a young milkmaid in a large white apron balancing a pail on her head, and she is the only person who is looking straight out at the viewer. Some experts suggest that she is singing beautifully, and her grace is shown as she's delicately lifting up her skirt to show her ankles and to avoid getting urinated on by the boy. She's the only true musician at the scene. So the enraged musician is not considered a true musician because he has removed himself from nature to study, and he's covering his ears to block out the noise, but simultaneously is denying himself the milkmaid's sweet music. On the milkmaid's right, there is a hautboy, and a haut is a kind of an oboe. A hautboy player who is thumping his nose at the violinist, and to her left is a drummer boy. And then behind this, there's a man who's paving stones and hitting them with a rammer. And in the lower right, a dog is barking at a man who's sharpening a cleaver. Further, there are many vendors yelling on the street trying to gain the attention of passerby. These vendors include a dustman with a basket on his back ringing a bell, and a fishermonger shouting. The distant buildings also hint at the noisy city. The church, thought to be St. Martin in the Fields or St. Gallen in the Fields, is flying a flag and presumably ringing its bells for some large event. To the right of the church is a pewter studio of John Long, and on the roof there are hissing cats. The left corner depicts loose bricks, suggesting that there are more buildings and noise out of the frame that would also drive the violinist to distraction. Interestingly, the playbill for the Beggar's Opera is displayed on the wall next to the musician's window as a hint to the British musical developments at this time. It was very successful since, at the time, there was a shift in taste from Italian opera to the native British music and culture, of which Hogarth was a very public supporter. In Hogarth's pieces, A Rake's Progress, Marriage à la Mode, and The Bad Taste of the Town, there are many scenes of mockery of the continental fashions, the foolishness of the levee, and the fashion of Italian opera and Italian opera singers as being very frivolous. The playbill in this case is actually anachronistic, as it advertises the play with the original cast of 1728, and this was in 1741. Because of his previous mockery, the musician is thought to be Italian with French notes and has been variously identified with a number of foreign musicians that were active at the time, but it's unclear who the musician is meant to resemble, if anyone in particular. The hautboy player has also evaded true identification with this kind of evidence, though the scene is comical juxtaposition of traditional high and low culture. Hogarth could be suggesting here that the foreign, so the Italian and French tradition, is being silenced by the eruption of Britishness. However, this could also have been an afterthought, as the playbill was not featured in previous impressions, and the hautboy player and the paver are thought to be potentially Jewish and Irish instead of Italian and French.